Luffy and Kaido attack each other using Conqueror's Haki. Their attacks do not touch, but the impact is so strong that the sky splits in two. Wow. Alright, Luffy has finally done it. He's joined the elusive club of Skysplitter. So we got the 1026 spoilers, and it seems like this one is continuing the streak of great chapters that we've had, so let's get into it. The title of the chapter is The Decisive Battle. Kaido shoots his bolo breath and Momonosuke barely manages to dodge it. So previously we saw Shinobu age Momonosuke up with her devil fruit ability, making him 28 years old and also maturing his dragon fruit ability to like the size of Kaido's dragon. This way he'd be able to take Luffy back up to Onigashima to rematch Kaido. But despite his transformation, he is still afraid of heights as he was originally, so it's taking him a little bit to get up there, but once he eventually does, he starts like crashing into it before getting to the roof, and there they re-encounter Yamato, who was holding off Kaido for them. And then we see like Luffy and Yamato do this attack to Kaido, which seems like it hurt him, but then it didn't, because then he goes back to his dragon form and comes face to face with Momonosuke and finds out like who he is, because you know he just sees a huge dragon. He didn't know at first, and that leads us to where we are now, with him then firing a bolo breath at him, but Momonosuke barely managing to dodge it. Momonosuke bites Kaido, who screams in pain. So this is just par of the course for Kaido. Like, he'll be really dominant, but then maybe there's going to be a point where someone will dodge his attack and then he'll get countered, and it'll like visibly hurt him. Either it will like open up a wound or his face will show like anguish on it. But then like immediately afterwards he just comes back and annihilates the person. But I guess it's fine because it makes Kaido different. He's kind of like a pro wrestler, like some kind of Brock Lesnar figure. So now we have adult dragon Momonosuke, Yamato, and Luffy all going against Kaido here. But I don't think that trio is going to last very long. I think Kaido is eventually going to do something that like knocks Momonosuke out, and then he'll like revert back to his human form, which is at this point implied to look nearly identical, if not identical, to like Odin. And I think Yamato is going to see this and pretty much see Odin and then like fangirl out, and then I guess going back to protecting Momonosuke, like Yamato will be responsible for like getting him to safety along with herself and just leaving Luffy to fight Kaido without having to worry about them. And that also makes me think that maybe Yamato won't join the crew if she like fully accepts Momonosuke as the second coming of Odin, and she would just rather serve under Odin in Wano than, you know, go out on an adventure with Luffy. Not saying it's guaranteed, but it's just, you know, a possibility. Inurashi and Nekomamushi lose their Sulong form because the clouds have covered the moon. So I think 2 chapters back we saw that Inurashi and Nekomamushi were having like their final fights. Inurashi going against Jack, Nekomamushi going against Perospero. And it turns out that there was like holes in the roof, and the moon was able to be seen through them, which allowed the minks to go into their Sulong forms despite being inside of the dome. And that's pretty much where the sequence ends. So I guess it turns out that it was short-lived because the clouds have now covered the moon. But this doesn't really seem like too much of a problem for Nekomamushi. Maybe Inurashi. I mean, he's going against Jack, but Nekomamushi going against Perospero has pretty much been a squash match. And considering that Perospero is like, you know, over 700 million bounty, just shows you how impressive that is for Nekomamushi. So even if he like didn't have the Sulong form, I'm pretty sure he still would have won. Luffy and Kaido attack each other using Conqueror's Haki. Their attacks do not touch, but the impact is so strong that the sky splits in two. Wow. Alright, Luffy has finally done it. He's joined the elusive club of Skysplitters, which comprises exclusively of Yonko, I guess, and Pirate King, because I think the only other characters to have done this in the series have been Roger, Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks, right? And now Luffy has joined those ranks. So does that mean that Luffy is now Yonko level? Maybe. Regardless, whether he is or isn't, he's pretty darn strong right now. And I think this means that he may have gotten the Shonen MC Zenkai maybe, because clearly he just came off of that defeat and then mild recovery time. And this kind of happens from time to time in One Piece, and I guess it kind of has to, because oddly enough, this is one of the rare series that doesn't have training arcs, which is a good and a little bit of a bad thing. Good because, you know, we don't really have to waste our time with having to go through the slog of like these training arcs, which sometimes aren't really too entertaining and usually rely on like a big climax to see the fruits of their labor. I mean, the only really instance that we got of this in the series was Roskaina, but it was extremely necessary and I think it was far from boring. But it could be a little bad because there's like no rhyme or reason to Luffy getting these power-ups most of the time. Not how they work, but how he attains them. Like Luffy just trains off panel and gets these forms, and that's fine. But just in my opinion, it leaves a little to be desired. Which goes back to the Shonen MC Zenkai that I was talking about. Like, why is Luffy so much stronger now since he's just had like 15 minutes of rest, you know what I mean? And funny enough, the fake spoilers that came out yesterday said that Luffy was going to reveal Gear 5 in this chapter, and like 0.5% of me wanted to believe it, but I knew that it would be too good to be true. But also, you know, there kind of needs to be an excuse for Luffy defeating Kaido eventually, and I thought, hey, if there's a great time to reveal Gear 5, it would be now. But it goes back to what I was talking about with him off-panel training. And we could always have a flashback like what we did with Gear 4. I thought that was awesome. But how many times can Oda go to that well? Like, is it going to be revealed that he learned every single thing that he's going to need for the rest of the series when he was in Roskaina? That would be interesting, but maybe a little clunky at the same time. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But I'm really liking this sequence. I can't wait to see it on the page. And like I said, I think this is eventually going to lead to Momonosuke getting knocked out, or for some reason him reverting to his human form, and then this is going to lead to Yamato taking him out of there, and we're just going to have this one-on-one fight between Kaido and Luffy, which I'm assuming this is like the final round maybe? I highly doubt Luffy's going to get knocked out and then have to do the whole recovery thing again. That would be a little bizarre. Thanks to this, Luffy splitting the sky, the full moon can be seen again. So Inurashi and Nekomamushi recover their Sulong form and defeat Jack and Perospero. All right, that's pretty cool. Like Luffy inadvertently helping them, you know, clashing with Kaido, clearing the clouds that were covering the moon. So they get buffed up again, and it claims they're straight up defeating them, meaning that this is over. Like one of the All-Stars has been defeated now. And Perospero, you know, I'm not surprised. Like I said, this was pretty much a squash match. Maybe even overkill for him using Sulong to take him out. But I like to see this because it's showing us that we are progressing. And I'm not saying rush or I want this arc to end or anything, but I would like it to progress. So now that these matches are over, you know, Oda can now just focus on the main significant ones. And of course, there's still like little lingering ancillary battles going on and whatnot, but you know, these are the main things that we could focus on. You know, now that the Flying Six and Jack and Perospero are gone. And no break next week, so that's always nice. But that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about the spoilers in the comments. What do you think is going on with Luffy versus Kaido? What do you think is going to happen with his development in Conqueror's Haki? And do you think this is the final round? Let me know. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.